Hey guys, what's up? Kevin Cage back with another daily cryptocurrency video. Like and subscribe if you like what you see, and let's get right into the information today regarding Ripple, XRP, and all other developments with DLT. So again guys, right here, Otto Gunger, DLT, Distributed Ledger Technology, will improve the time and cost involved in post-trade due to the friction between disparate systems and databases by moving to a single global ecosystem where standards are common and across which people can interact seamlessly. Now, this is regarding SIBOS, and SIBOS is actually the annual banking and financial conference held by the one and only SWIFT. And again, if you don't know, SWIFT stands for the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications, and they are obviously the organization in charge of transacting and enabling FIs, financial institutions, to send and receive payments and information and transactions worldwide today. Of course, in a secure manner is what they like to say, but in reality, SWIFT does not do its job. This was all created, 40 years ago, legacy system, pre-digital, pre-internet era. We cannot send value, we cannot send money within, like we can send data today, or like we can even send packages via Amazon today. So we can send goods, we can send data, but we cannot send value, and that is the issue today. SWIFT is not equipped to actually settle payments. They might even they do sell some software as well, but they're not actually prepared or even capable to truly settle payments, and that is why Ripple, teaming up with R3 and utilizing XRP is literally the only solution they have to truly settle, to truly source liquidity. Even Ripple's xCurrent or other competing products will not do the job. Those are still messaging systems with fancy debiting and crediting features. That is not settling the payment. And I'll go into more depth and detail about that later. So again, guys, as we can see, SIBOS this year, it is actually in London, and it is the 23rd and 26th of September. We know some, key players are here. And of course, we have the link right here, so we can just take a peek in, the actual edition, talking about some points that they'll be addressing. 2 drivers for change in the world of foreign exchange. Of course, investors driving post-trade revolution. Huge conversations on DLT along with blockchain technology. And I'm excited to see Ripple's Swell event later in the year as well. So we've already kind of covered who's going to be speaking there. I'm excited to hear about the Swift GPI announcement and any types of developments with R3. There's still tons of speculation, but they are going back to back in a presentation. So that does lead me to believe that there could be some form of bullish announcement on the way. Typically, people are kind of curious why XRP's prices moved, and oftentimes there is news on the back end, but due to, inside trading and manipulation in the market, we're often the last people to know as retail investors. Now, some technical analysis gurus that I respect and always keep an eye on are basically saying that XRP could, either shoot to 34 cents or potentially touch 29 cents first, maybe, doing some consolidation for the time being. Just food for thought, not financial advice. We will see what happens next. And then a fun fact, because I want to release all news, in regards to Ripple, actually, the company, the market cap has actually, not the market cap, but the actual circulating supply has increased a tad. So it was at, 43 billion, a little less than that. And it actually, thanks to Mr. Leo, here on Twitter, has a great website, by the way, XRP Arcade, that I highly recommend you check out. So Leonidas. And he actually just said that the exact amount of XRP that was released in the circulating supply was approximately 30,579,123 XRP was released on the market. So I'm curious if this is a whale, if this was part of the escrow deal, who's using this XRP, what's going on the back end. All right. Or was it simply to maintain price so it doesn't spike too fast, too soon? Not to get into conspiracy theories, but again, you have to question these things, all right? As an intelligent investor, the good and bad, you have to be able to speculate. All right, next, this is a cool find by XRP_Owl, King Solomon. So Global Payments merges with TSYS. And TSYS, as we can see here, Total System Services, TS, however you want to say it, we could say TSYS, is an American credit card processor. And they are relatively large. As you can see, their revenue is over $4 billion based on 2018. And then their total assets in the, millions, of course, over 12,000 employees. So I'm, guessing there's some relative volume. And keep in mind, this part is speculation, so take it as you will. So we got over approximately 13,000 FIs, 3.5 million merchants, and digital interactions with 600 million cardholders. So now TSYS and Ripple are both Accenture partners, not proof of integration, but interesting. And remember, Accenture, as a lot of people have talked about, are working with a lot of the key players to make these adjustments in terms of digital transformation, so strategic planning and implementation. So they're actually working with Swift, R3, and Ripple, and especially in the worlds of payments for DLT and blockchain specifically. So as you can see here, and then even in right here, as you can see in this picture, they do name drop. I don't know why I didn't do that. But anyways, right here, as you can see, digital payments and innovation. And of course, they're talking about Bitcoin and Ripple. And, this is an older document, I'm guessing, because they refer to it as Ripple, is the Ripple protocol. And again, a really cool find that Bank XRP did share on YouTube today that I can, briefly go over in another video was a huge group actually back in 2015 demonstrating the proof of concept by settling with XRP in, anywhere from 1 to 10 seconds is what they said in the interview. Typically I hear 3 to 5 seconds, but it was very, very cool to see actual live presentations and proof of concepts, POCs, dated back to 2015 with some very, very large groups. So I'll cover that later on. And then again, TSYS, I was just kind of doing some research on them. But all right, Matthew Linney on Twitter. So just talking about real estate on R3's additional blockchain adoption that we'll continue to see from the article. CodeJute uses R3's core to distributed ledger technology. Last year, HM Land Registry commissioned software company Methods for DLT research and developments for its Digital Street project. Methods worked with Blockchain Digital and Persistent Systems, the two developers involved in the Instant Property Network. Now, Coadjugate, or however you want to pronounce it. So again, we're going to see a lot more of these, types of funding and enterprise blockchain developments, and not only real estate, but various, use cases. But notice how R3 is capitalizing, as we've said, not only in terms of just trade finance, we're going to see them actually capitalizing and focusing on markets with supply chain management, real estate, the derivatives market, even biomedical for DLT purposes and operational efficiencies. And then especially when it comes to trade finance with letter of credits, any types of forms of value, essentially, even private equities and securities. And I'm, very, very curious to see what kind of effect or, influence Securitize will have, along with, why am I blanking on the name? I read too much. Polysign as well. But I want to wait for some more concrete developments from them. All right, right here, another news or piece of development. Again, we've talked about InstaRem, and thank you, King Solomon, for sharing. So InstaRem XRapid now available in Canada. So registered as a money service business and MSB with FinTrack in Canada, digital money transfer service will help individuals and businesses in Canada to send money to over 60 countries. So again, additional corridors. As we can see here, Canada is said to be one of the leading remittance sending countries in the world with a large population. As much as 24.6 billion US dollars was sent out of Canada in remittances, with countries like China with 4 billion, India with almost 3 billion, and then the Philippines with about 2.5 billion are some of the top recipients. Remember, these low-hanging corridors, these low-hanging fruits that Ripple is aiming to resolve, is especially the Philippines, India, Mexico, the remainder of Southeast Asia, and even potentially Africa with all of the Moja Loop initiatives. So something to keep in mind, again, covering 40 countries, 3.2 billion people in developing countries, and this is InstaRem. So we're going to hear more and more about them, but just wanted to share another development and another country that is on board. All right here, XRP_Anderson. This is cool. I always like to share his speculative tweets and his, dot connecting, and I think it's worth the read. So coincidences. Ripple holds meeting for central banks where the International Monetary Fund appears in New York. Next, the International Monetary Fund presents at Swell, which is pretty fishy already. It makes you really realize that Ripple is not just some fintech company. They are working with the IMF. This is not just some ICO or, multi-billion-dollar successful startup. This is huge. They are working with regulators. They have people that have ties from the banking industry to actual, like the SEC, to the Federal Reserve. All right, right here, Ross Leckow from the IMF follows Ripple and is together with Brad Garlinghouse alone on stage at the conference. I specifically love that video. I love that interview. Very, very good concrete information that was shared with us. And a little hype and speculation, almost like those two were up to something. All right, right here at the BIS, or the Bank of International Settlements meeting in Switzerland in May of 2019, Brad is placed at the front table and explains XRapid, the suite or the software product that utilizes XRP, which is what we want. We want utilization. We want utility, to a very prestigious audience. Christine Lagarde, and again, she was the former IMF president, or I guess still is for now. Or did she already move to the ECB? I'll have to actually check. Of the IMF is present, and then Ross Leckow leaves the IMF after 29 years for the BIS on September 1st. And again, I know we covered that in the past video, looking at his LinkedIn as well. Next, a couple of weeks later, Christine Lagarde, is chosen to lead the ECB, the European Central Bank. Now here's speculation. Everything else was factual. Ross Leckow followed and learned from Ripple his new role at the BIS. He will work at the Innovation Hub. What was the reason for all these meetings between Ripple and the central banks? And it's already widely known that Ripple is working with 40 to 50 central banks. That is not speculation. This is not fiction. This is fact. Now, related to the Bank of International Settlements, perhaps, really the king of banks, or at least on the back end, we have, the World Bank, we have the IMF, which is kind of the sister partner, and then the BIS as well. They're all tightly connected. All right. So, settlement between central banks. Could XRapid be part of this? Could Ross Leckow help with this transition? Now, that's, a bunch of speculation, but why on earth are they actually working with Ripple? It does make you wonder, and they're talking about the key issues right now. Liquidity, liquidity, liquidity. What happened today? The markets were pumped with, $150 billion artificially? Last time in 2008, we saw $550 billion pumped into the economy, and that was right during this whole 2008 crash. So, are we seeing a repeat? Perhaps. All right, we're going to finish off with this. So, Stephen the Bold Diep. So, he's talking about, and what I already talked about. So, when using Xcurrent, banks are transferring value with digital coins backed by Nostro Vostro accounts. And Nostro Vostro are the pre-funded accounts that they actually need to have just in case to account for the liquidity that they do not have. And again, these have huge costs, so which have capital costs massively in terms of, holding it, losing money to inflation, you name it. Now, similarly, the JP Morgan coin or the JPM coin and Facebook's Libra are merely another fancy form of Xcurrent. All right, they're just transferring value with digital coins backed by pre-funded accounts. Still, there's trapped liquidity. And as I've said, all of these projects, all of these so-called XRP killers are not solving the problem that XRP is equipped to solve. No other bank, no other group is equipped or even capable to develop what XRP has developed these past 7 years. And as I wanted to emphasize, I believe I retweeted, there's only one existing solution that I know of. And again, the Working Money channel on YouTube also said this the same day, the other day, talking about XRP being the only thing that can actually solve on-demand liquidity. Period, guys. If you know anything else that could potentially do that, let me know, and then I'll actually question my XRP investment. But other than that, the dots are connecting. Everything is falling right into place. So again, guys, my brain is really foggy. It's been a really long day. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you want any links, and I will see you in the next one.